I see you.
Okay, I can see you and hear you. So let's see if anybody in the comments can see. Can you see and hear Mac, or is it only just me? Let's see here. Uh, People are joining in, but no one's answered the question yet. So let's see. Oh, got you both. Okay, good.
Yeah.
It works. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I hate mysteries of the internet,
Exactly.
right?
I mean, I've been
This is
told I got a face for radio, so
Yeah,
that's
this is two masters athletes trying to figure out technology. So this is wonderful. So okay, so we'll start fresh. Here we go. You're one of several people who have been wanting to interview for a while. For anybody who doesn't know you, Marcus McClain, owner of CrossFit KH over in Germany. Now that's a big geographical area. So
That's
where
right.
exactly? Hopefully one day people can travel for tourism. So where in Germany are you located?
Absolutely. We're about 45 minutes west of Frankfurt. So,
Okay.
straight line distance. If you keep going, you're going to run into the French-Belgian border. Middle of wine country, middle of this disputed area, which once was part of the Roman Empire, the Napoleon. It's great. It's a very interesting place to live, especially in terms of World War history and so on and so forth. So, pretty cool place. And
Yeah.
again, we got some pretty good wine here. So.
I didn't realize that with the wine. I associate I just German, the stereotype is just the German beer.
Yeah, yeah. And look, my social media team's talking smack already because they're not part of this. So
Well, you can't take Carl's PR. He still holds the PR,
yeah.
right? So, more of your credentials as to why I very much wanted to chat with you is, you're a man that knows things. You've got an interesting position where you can hear a lot of things, you can learn a lot of things. So you're not only your affiliate just celebrated their 5 year anniversary, right? So
That's correct. This week,
five
yeah.
this week. So
Yeah,
congratulations, 5 years doors open as an affiliate owner. You are also a member of the CrossFit seminar staff. So that
that's
in and
right.
of itself gives you a huge number of people that you interact with. And then, even more interestingly, you're one of CrossFit's country managers. And so
Correct.
you're kind of the point of contact for hundreds of affiliates in a geographical region, right? So, I mean,
That's
you
correct.
hear a lot of, the highs, the lows, what's on people's minds, what are their concerns. So, tell me a bit about that role and what is the geographical area of the world that you're responsible for as a country manager?
Right. So it's been since 2000. Well, it's been a couple of years now. Nicole Carroll asked me because I was over here and do speak German to some degree and have an affiliate and it's part of seminar staff. If I would then, at first, it was just actually running social media or setting up our social media sites, and then as dramatically grown into this position now where we serve the German speaking countries, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And we have approximately 550 affiliates that we take care of, that we interact with, especially during the Corona time. I think this has been very important, and we've had a lot of back and forth from them. But, you know, it's all benefit to me. I mean, I do my best to help these guys, but these guys help me so much. I've learned so much. I mean, I feel guilty that the opportunities that I get to have, and interact with these owners, coaches, the community as a whole, because I just get so much from it. I've not came up with one of these things that I do on my own affiliate on my own. I've just literally stolen it from all the affiliates that I've visited and seen, put these things in practice and work well. And it's a credit to them. I mean, there are just amazing affiliate owners and coaches out there doing stuff that I mean, I'm just not that smart. I wouldn't come up on these things on my own, and I'm fortunate enough to just be able to have the opportunity to interact with all of them. And it's a great opportunity, tremendous opportunity.
Well, again, that's why I wanted to talk to you, because you do get to see and hear so many different things. And a lot of the CrossFit world, I don't know if world is the right way to say it, but some of the loudest things that you hear, there's a lot of United States centric and focused media and stories and videos and athletes in CrossFit, and Canada as well. Iceland obviously is just crushing on a regular basis. Brazil is a huge market, but the
Yeah,
Germany, Austria, Switzerland, we don't hear them a lot in the headlines or whatnot. So for everybody kind of new to that market or new to that CrossFit community, how would you say it? What is the CrossFit community like over there? What's the vibe in that part of the world?
Well, let me start off by saying CrossFit Doc is one of only two regions that actually grew during the COVID pandemic.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we saw
Take that,
growth.
Brazil.
Yeah, right. Well, we actually grew, and we continue to grow, even amidst affiliates being locked down, and that just speaks to
Wow.
the how how good this community is and the good things that they're doing. That even amidst, I experienced the same thing in the military. When I joined the military, there was no war, and we had young men and women sign up to in the middle of the 9/11 era, and that's the same thing. We got people signing up to affiliate in the middle of who knows what's going to happen. For us in Germany, there's not really a light at the. We know it's getting better. Switzerland, and Austria have already reopened or are reopening. Austrian affiliates open tomorrow. So to say, hey, I'm going to pull the trigger and open an affiliate because I know I can open. We've got people doing that right now that don't even know when they'll be able to open. We have affiliates that have not physically had people in their brick and mortar location for over the year that they've been open. But because of the good things that this community does, the strength of this community, the opportunities this community is affording people are still applying to affiliate, and that's
That boggles
awesome.
my mind.
Yeah.
That's brave and gutsy
Yeah.
on a huge level. I did an interview a little while ago with a gentleman by the name of Rod Coachman. He runs an affiliate, CrossFit 1209, and same deal, opened right in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy cow, like how? And he was kind of cool. He's like, well, I mean, not only did the timing work out, the space, whatever, but I mean, talk about when would people ever need fitness more than right now? And
Exactly.
it's like,
Yeah.
it's a really cool way to look at it. But that's incredible. I didn't realize that the growth was occurring even then.
Yeah.
So you guys are on the rise.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, continue it slow and steady. Yeah. And it always has been. We didn't see necessarily that big explosion like we saw in the States. We did have significant growth a little bit earlier, but we just continue. The dock region just continues to grow, and there's lots of room for us to grow. I mean, most of Germany speaking, or Germany, in terms of Germany, we see central and southern, a little bit to the north. And north, there's still a lot of areas that don't have affiliates that still have the potential to have affiliates. And I mean, there's a lot of potential still within this country, which is pretty cool.
So you made mention that you are an American living over there full time in Germany. I mean, talk about full time, family, children, business owner. I mean, you are invested. How in the world does somebody born and raised in the United States now end up down the road in their life making it happen in Germany and speaking German on top of it?
Yeah, I will say that the military isn't for everyone, but in my situation, the military was the only kind of choice I really had, and it was a good one, and it worked out well for me. And shortly after being sent to my first duty station, I was told I was going to Germany, and I fought tooth and nail. I didn't want to go to Germany. I had no desire. I didn't understand the process at the time, and it was explained to me very clearly that I didn't have a choice, and that I would go to Germany whether I liked it or not. And I came over here in '98 and was sent straight to Bosnia, and then just turn of events, yeah, marriage, children. Yeah, and then I just ended up staying here because I love the weather and paying taxes. So, long story short, I like to pay a lot of taxes, and I like, unpredictable weather. So, but yeah, the military got me over here and kept me over here. And as to date, I've lived longer in Germany or been stationed in Germany longer than I've actually lived in the United States. So,
Wow, that's crazy. And we mentioned yesterday when we chatted for a little pre-interview chat that myself, as a lover of languages and a language enthusiast and somebody who studied Spanish off and on my entire life, I have such respect when I see somebody else as a non-native speaker picking up a language and living in that country. So how did you develop your German proficiency?
um, well, to be honest, as a young man, I was 19 years old, and I had other priorities then. So those
Understood.
priorities drove me to want to learn the language and experience, what was going on here. I actually arrived here in the middle of what you guys would know in America as Mardi Gras. And
Oh, interesting.
we'll save that story. I don't have a PG version of that one. So
Offline.
yeah, yeah. But long story short, I ended up in the middle of this party that was going on, and I couldn't speak the language, and I was frustrated with that. And as a child, I was very interested in foreign languages, and one thing led to another, and then I was moved to a part of Germany where I was able to really interact with the local community, get out, and it just opened so many doors, being able to speak the language, and then being a liaison officer then for my unit, and then eventually working with the Bundeswehr. And just one thing led to the other. There's a lot of work to do. I picked up a lot of bad habits along the way, so it's really difficult to relearn those, as you know, especially if you start to pick up slang or
Hmm.
mispronunciation. And I could have picked a much easier language to learn, but it is pretty cool. And to your comment, I think it just brings something to someone. It culturally enriches them, being able to speak another language, and here it does open some doors when you can speak the language, and I would love to learn some more languages, but German's keeps me pretty busy trying just to keep it correct. So
I would tend to think so. So for those people who've never been to your gym, we're all doing the same thing, but every gym has a slightly different vibe. So give me a sense, what's the community like at CrossFit KH? What are the demographics? Some gyms are more regular people and chill and mom and dad. Some people are more competitive tone to it. Some people older, younger. What's CrossFit KH all about if we were to walk in and drop in for a class?
well, you're going to walk into a very large garage gym. It's just a big garage, and it comes from how we started. I literally pulled the trigger 5 years ago. I was getting ready to retire from active duty, and I didn't know what to do. I was happy that, I'd been with the seminar staff already for a couple of years, but I wasn't sure, if that was going to work out. I wasn't sure. At that time, I was a single parent, and I was like, I got to do something also because
Mm-hmm.
I'd been so busy in the military. And I was like, well, I'm going to literally put a Facebook posting up, and I'm going to be Bad Kreuznach has the name BAD because it's people come here to rehab for upper respiratory areas. So we have these baths and rehab areas, and that's why it has this distinctive name. And we have a park there where people can walk to or sit and basically rehab from illnesses. And I just said, hey, I'm going to be here on this day. If you want to do CrossFit, show up. And on that day, my
Really?
first customer, and she's still with us, and a coach, Isabel Staub, showed up, and me and her did CrossFit at what was known as the Rose Island, is how it translates.
That's
And
awesome.
it was very interesting as people walked by. But, every week the group grew and grew. Carl Stedman actually visited us at our first site, and we were outdoors for almost a year. And I said I wouldn't get a location, or I couldn't afford a location, or I wouldn't until I had at least 10 people that regularly showed up and wanted more. So we went from meeting every Wednesday, and after the training, then we went for pizza or beer, and we literally built this community. And if it wasn't for this community and support network that I built in the beginning, or I didn't build it, they built it for me. This gym is founded for and by the people of Bad Kreuznach, and I wouldn't be anywhere that I am today without those founding members. And they're still members today, and they are amazing, people. I mean, in and outside the box. And we literally started with just a handful of equipment, and it's grown to where we took over a ladies' fitness area in the middle of an apartment building.
Oh,
Literally,
really?
when you did a burpee, the whole building shaked. It was amazing. But we were only able to stay there a short while. And then our current location, which is basically a big storage hall, was posted in Facebook. And I thought it was a joke. I mean, we're sitting on New Year's Eve, I think it was, in our second location, drinking. So, we're just pondering the future. And this pops up on Facebook, and I thought it was a joke, but I picked up the phone and called to the individual, and he's like, yeah, it's available. You want to see it now? We drove out there. We looked at it. It was perfect. When you open the door Well, you already
Mm.
see the big roll door, and I opened the door, and it was just, I mean, it had over 15-foot ceilings, concrete floor. I was like, this is it, you
Perfect.
know? Yeah, and I tried to explain to the guy what we do, and he's like, hey, man, let me show you. So I went and had a beer with actually the landlord, and he said, you're the only person that would come have a beer with me and, talk to me. So he said, you can have it. Do whatever you want there. And
Oh,
from there,
wow.
yeah, we have been in that same spot now for almost 4 years. So,
That's so cool because you hear more and more in 2021 or recently of people feeling like they need to go big immediately. They need to get a
yeah,
huge space, wall to wall gear, put themselves in tremendous debt with the lease or whatnot. And I don't think, and you started for free outdoors,
yeah,
and you didn't pull the trigger on something else until you were ready to pull the trigger on it. And I think that's a good thing for a lot of people to hear because some people may want to get into an affiliate or open an affiliate, but they feel like they need to open the megaplex
sure.
right out of the gates. And I think a lot of people don't remember or maybe haven't dove into the CrossFit journals, but like back in the day, nobody opened the megaplex right away.
No, no.
Everybody started small, either one-on-one training and grew it or their garage. Then when you
Yeah.
outgrew it, and then when you outgrew it, you didn't go to the megaplex. You went to the space that was appropriate. And then when you outgrew that, then and only then did you move. And so it can be done, with
Yes.
a reasonable budget as long as you're just patient, and
Yeah.
willing to make it happen. So, when we were chatting yesterday, one of the things that popped out to me, and I just mentioned it in that story about how things used to go, was growing one-on-one training. And you said you've got a bit of that going on at your facility, which I thought was cool because I don't hear too much about that any day. Most people, when they hear CrossFit, they hear a CrossFit gym, they envision the group class, and that's the majority of what occurs. But the one-on-ones also were old-time CrossFit
Yeah.
tradition, and you've got it to a degree going on. So what are you all doing with the one-on-one approach?
Yeah, hindsight being 2020, I wish I would have stuck with that a bit longer in the beginning. I was rushing, as every young owner is, I was rushing to get people in the door. I was rushing, I wanted to grow, and at the cost that I kind of compromised myself in the beginning by wanting people to go into the group, and because of the COVID and because our area has been a little bit more lax than other areas, we've been able to continue to train people outdoors, one-on-one, via Zoom, or we've even had during the first lockdown, my coaches were driving to people's homes and training them in their gardens.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, and
That's a level of commitment.
exactly, from our clients and from our coaches as well. And just the bond you build and those lines of communication and the understanding that you get then from doing that with people, you understand where they are in their fitness journey. You understand then how you can scale to get them the intended stimulus from the workout. And it affords opportunities also for you just to simply listen to someone when they're not having such a great day, and that's for me is what it's all about. I have continued, regardless of the weather, regardless of the corona situation, my intent has been to offer people something different than what the dilemma that we're in, and that for us has been CrossFit and the training. And some days it's been, hey, it looks like we probably just need to have a cup of coffee and you need to vent, and if that's what it boils down to, that's what it boils down to. Or, hey, it looks like you need about 100 reps of the slam ball just to kind of,
Mm-hmm.
get everything out. But you don't get those opportunities in a big group. We were at one point running classes 12, 15 people at a time, and a little bit of that is lost. And I've learned a lot in this time, and we will reduce and restructure to make sure that we don't lose that connection
Okay.
with our community that we have forged during the Corona time. And I couldn't be more happy to do that. I don't feel like we're losing anything. I actually feel like we're gaining much more. And one, it's the interpersonal relation and the ability to bring the people the training that they want and actually deserve.
So in a unique way, COVID kind of refocused or helped you maybe shed some light on some things that might have not got the attention for a
Yeah,
while.
absolutely. And I've heard that continuously in all my conversations or in most conversations with affiliate owners. This has been actually, it was a what we'd say in the military, a tactical pause.
Right.
And it gave them the opportunity to kind of look at things and review things and make changes where without this force, I mean, it's been a little long now,
Right.
but without that, they may not have made these changes. And I think these changes will overall benefit their affiliate and their personal lives as well. And I think that's a good thing. Whereas I'm not sure that you guys in the States were ever at that standstill point, or as long as we were, where you had the opportunity to maybe make those decisions or review things.
Yeah, it varied wildly from state to state, and
Yeah.
even in the same state, it could vary from city to city or municipality to municipality. So, since we are chatting COVID, how long have the gyms over there had to deal with a lockdown or a significant hit to their business? And what's the present COVID situation right now as we talk? Any light coming at the end of the tunnel?
Well, for the three countries, most had been closed for about a year. So we, we closed on St. Patrick's Day, in the first go around, and then we had a month or two where we opened. But essentially, for most German affiliates, have been the physical brick and mortar location has been closed 12 months.
Wow.
Switzerland opened a few weeks ago. We've done a level 1 and level 2 already in Switzerland, and Austria will open tomorrow. And
Okay, nice.
yeah, and some German affiliates are hearing from their local offices that they may be able to open a little bit sooner. Incidence rates vary from area to area. My area is really seeming to go down, which is good news for us, which means that we can probably train more people outdoors. But the question is how we get people back in. Are they going to need to test before they come in the gym? Are they going to have to wear a mask? And a
Right.
lot of those details that just have not been disclosed
Still a
yet.
bunch of unknowns.
Yeah, exactly.
But at
So,
least you're heading in a more positive direction than it seems like it's been for a long time, huh?
yeah, I think so for the most. Yeah, it looks. I hope that by 1 July everything's are good to go and we're on the right track. So
Fingers crossed for you. So as we start to wind down, like I told you, I want to get some of your little pearls of wisdom,
sure.
some nuggets from the affiliate owner side, and then obviously just tips to make trainers better trainers from, again, level 1 staff, affiliate owner,
Sure.
country manager. But before, my one final question to you is, and maybe I'm crazy, maybe you've had a different experience, but you're a former military individual, I'm a former military individual, and not all the time. I don't want to cast any stereotypes on military people, okay? Some of them are deserved, some of them are not. But sometimes individuals coming from the military, especially depending upon what their profession was in the military, leave the military with a way of communicating and delivering information that's a bit rough and a bit coarse and isn't received well by civilians and the general population. I don't know if you've experienced this at all, or because my, observing you and hearing you talk, that's not an issue. And I've had this issue myself, and I've actually had conversations with other people who are transitioning about, like, hey, just so you may want to change the way that you deliver some news to folks. Have you always had this kind of easygoing demeanor, or did you have a little bit of a transition as well to interacting with civilians?
There's been a great transition. I was once given the nickname Insane McClain by my company troop, and I've learned how to not give everyone the knife edge, and I have learned not to use the F-bomb in every other sentence. But I've been. It's still sometimes a difficult transition. I was on post today. I had to go pick up my mail. I'm allowed to receive mail on the military base here, and I just saw a uniform that was not up to what I would, and I just cringed for a minute. And I felt my heart rate go up, and I was like, "Wait, it's not my problem anymore."
Not
You know
my
what I
fight
mean?
anymore.
Yeah, but I am really. It's awesome because my goal was to leave that military. I mean, I literally cut all ties. I mean, there is no military base here where I live. I have another guy in my gym, Clint, who's retired. We were stationed actually in the place where we live now together. Um, but I wanted to establish my own identity. I had done a lot in the military, but I didn't want to be known as that military guy. I wanted to be known for my own accomplishments. I wanted to build my own, reputation. I wanted to do everything from scratch. I didn't want to be one of the guys, that relied on the military. And when I wasn't, so I really tried to just mix
Mm-hmm.
all that. And I've got some good coworkers, Mario and Keta, that are, they keep me on track, but they understand where I'm coming from. And I speak from the heart, and I led with passion in the military, and no one could take that away from me. Whether I was a nice guy or not, or a little bit crazy is debatable, but there's not one of my troops, I feel, or I hope, ever doubted that I didn't care about them or wasn't doing the best for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I take that same passion into my affiliate. So my coaches, sometimes probably are like, man, this dude, because I'm dressed right. I like things clean, but I'm trying to relax that, and I feel like I've gotten better at it. But, this brings me to what you were asking me the other day, or what we talked about, like the top 3 things of being a good owner.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, coming out of that, man, was I thought about this, and based on what you just said, it ain't that serious. You know what I mean? I came into this trying to run it like it was boot camp. I literally led, 180 man and woman company in an airborne unit, and it's just not that serious, man. It's just,
Right.
it's
Right.
constantly very functional movements performed at high intensity. And not everybody's got the same, same kind of background I have, or the same
Sure.
experiences, and they can't identify with that. And I shouldn't expect them to identify with that. And I
Absolutely.
actually, as a coach, need to understand where they're at, in order to serve them best. And it took me a while to get to that. Coming out of the military, I was just that gung-ho coach. You are going to do these air squats to perfection, or you will cry or die, whichever comes
Mm-hmm.
first, and it don't need to be all that, and
Yeah, I agree. I think that can be sometimes, for folks coming out of the military, they expect others to meet them where they are as the former military person, whereas it shouldn't be that way. We should meet others where they are. So
yeah,
if you're the coach or you're
exactly.
the trainer, I'm going to meet my clients where they are and not expect them to meet me where I
Yeah,
am. I think that's
yeah,
a reversal of priorities. I think that's a huge one as a gym owner, former military or not. Just
yeah,
humble yourself and meet your people where they are.
exactly.
Um, Anything else from the gym owner's standpoint kind of pop into your head?
What you need and what you want, because they aren't always the same. I want a lot of
Amen.
things for my gym, but they're not necessarily what I need. And funny story is my ex-wife does my bookkeeping, and she's really good about. She's like, do you really need that, or do you want it? And she'll ask that hard question. And there's gyms that don't have a ceiling high enough to do wall balls, and they're still getting people fit.
Right.
There's
Right.
gyms that can't do rope climbs, or they don't have this or that, and they're still getting people fit. So I think the question you got to ask yourself, or maybe even ask someone else, is do we need this, or do we want this? And, if you can afford it and it's something you want, great.
Yep.
If you can't afford it, and you really don't need it, then maybe that's probably, a good question to ask yourself. And the last thing coming out of the military, mentorship is huge. I didn't get where I was at in the military without a mentor. And I was foolish to think that I could get out here in the civilian world without a mentor. And, I was like, man, I have survived combat. I've done all this in the military. I don't need any, I don't
Mm-hmm.
need help, And if you remember from the Field of Dreams, I built it, but they didn't come.
Right. Yes,
you know
indeed.
so find a mentor, talk. And I was lucky enough, I worked for Drake in Nuremberg for a long time. I worked for Vic in Anchorage. I worked with Kevin Bross at Launchstool. I had a lot of this experience, and I had to swallow my pride a little bit and go back and ask these guys and spend time with them, and not taking that time in the beginning, maybe sit down, get a business plan, know what kind of customers I want in my gym, have a target audience, and know what kind of community I want. Um, I had to take a few steps forward in order to take a few steps back to take a few steps forward. So
Right.
I would definitely encourage, know where you want to go, speak with someone that's probably already been there. You'll probably still make all the same mistakes, but at least you'll have a frame of reference. And I didn't have that in the beginning. And I'm grateful that those guys, Carl as well, these guys have took the time to kind of mentor me through these things. And when I have questions, because it is a very, for me, it was such a drastic 180 change from what I had done for 20 years of my life.
Hmm.
So that for sure is huge.
Whether it's a CrossFit gym or life in general, eventually you realize that it's a team sport,
Yeah, absolutely.
and having some good people in your corner. Because, right, you still might make the same mistakes, but then when you do, at least you're not making those mistakes in isolation. You can have
Yeah,
communication with those people that you know, like, and trust, and be like, I just did something stupid. How can we get out of this?
yeah,
And you'll have hopefully a better outcome surrounding yourself
absolutely.
with some good folks. Those are excellent tips for the gym owner, and they probably relate to more people than the gym owner. The mentor one, I think,
Absolutely.
is huge.
Yeah.
What about now just the trainer, the young trainer watching this and like, man, my goal is to just better serve my community. How can I do that?
Well, in the military, we say keep it simple, sapper. So, same thing. Just you don't need to gee whiz anyone or overwhelm people with your knowledge. Just keep it simple. Constantly varied functional movements performed at high intensity works
It does.
in its rawest form. And most people will get really fit and have a lot of fun with that, and you'll save yourself a lot of headaches. I do encourage you to go learn from other people and be a constant student of the game, but don't overwhelm yourself and your clients by trying to do too much. Know what you do it well, continue to seek out improvement, but hone your craft, your skill. It's definitely a lifelong process.
100%. I could not agree more.
Yeah. And that goes back to our other thing, I pushed a lot of clients away because even as a member of seminar staff, early as a coach and affiliate owner, I just didn't get that intensity as relative thing. I thought everyone needed to be at my level of intensity or they weren't getting anything out of the workout. And that
Hmm.
was that was a huge mistake because I did not, again, meet people where they were at. I wanted to get them where I thought they should be. And that's because we didn't have those conversations, ahead of time. I didn't understand where they were coming from. And that unfortunately pushed people away and made me look like a jerk. And again, I was doing what I was doing out of passion, but it was
Right.
just
I
not the
made that
right way
mistake
to,
for years, personally. I
yeah,
made that one for years, and I wish I had learned it sooner for
yeah,
my betterment and the betterment of others, quite frankly.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Anything
Totally.
else for the trainer perspective?
Um, and again, we continue to talk about it. Man, I have just really tried to dive into scaling. As we've got those stickers, scaling's not a crime. And scaling's pretty cool. And it's not actually that easy to scale. And I think again, like the weight, the Olympic lifts, there's just an aspect to them that their complexity contains the seeds of their worth, and it's same with
Hmm.
finding the right scaling options, and at the end of the day, if I get an individual to take an object from the floor to above their head, whether that looks like a snatch, a kettlebell swing, a dumbbell thruster, whatever it is, it's okay.
You're winning.
You're winning and they're winning too, and they can leave the gym feeling like they participated in the workout and achieved the intended stimulus and had some fun while doing it. And not feeling like they uh, are less of an athlete or a client because they couldn't do what was written on the whiteboard. So
Hmm.
I think we as a whole need to continue to encourage and explore scaling, make sure we're doing it right, and keep people safe. No time better than now to get people in our gyms, but there's no better time than now to lose people by getting them hurt in the first week that they're there, by
Right.
not scaling appropriately. I would rather someone leave the gym and think, man, I probably could have went a little heavier or a little bit faster instead of I ain't ever coming back because that was way too heavy and that was way too fast, you know?
Traumatized me.
Yes, exactly.
But I think that's linked to meeting people where they are,
Yeah, exactly.
and same deal. And I would say if somebody's watching this or listening to this and you're not scaling now, because let's just say you don't need to, you're perfectly good to go. Well, if you work out long enough, you will scale eventually, because if you're
Yes.
doing this in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, it's coming. At some point in time, it's coming. So you
Yeah.
might as well learn how to do it well.
Yeah, exactly.
And it will. And
Exactly.
then, if you do have somebody that wants to join you in the garage, chances are if they're new to CrossFit, they can't or shouldn't just jump in with, an RX DT. So let's go ahead and figure out a way to scale so they have a good time, they get an appropriate dose, and they're intrigued and they want to come back, and
Yeah,
then life is good. If they don't come back, you know,
that's not good. And I
anybody
think
could
it
just beat somebody down with a workout. That's not challenging to
absolutely.
do.
Absolutely. And it goes back to that question of want and need. I want to do these 30 muscle ups for time, but do I need to?
Right.
And that's the same thing. I want this person, to do this RX, but do they need to do it RX this moment? And and that's what we've got to meet people again. I think this has been a constant theme through this, and really a big lesson for me is just asking people then or meeting people where they're at, in that moment, and or where they're at in their fitness journey. I think is huge. So
Well, man, Mac, I appreciate it, brother. I
me too.
appreciate you making the time. What time is it out there where you are?
It is now 20 till 7, so
Okay.
just
Well,
past 6:30.
thanks for taking some time from your family, taking some time for your business. I hope everybody enjoyed the conversation as much as I
Me
did. I
too.
hope the world opens back up and they
Me
can
too.
head over to where you are. So leave people with as many different ways as you want. How can somebody get in contact with you? Instagram sites, either for you, your gym, or as the country manager role. How can people learn and follow?
Yeah, if someone is actually thinking about affiliating, attending a seminar, or has general questions here, they go to CrossFit DACH. So it's DACH, and that will link you into me and my team, get you directed to help us direct any kind of support in terms of affiliation, seminars, or in general. I'm willing to help anyone with CrossFit. Just don't ask me about marriage, finances, or anything else.
You've got a
Um,
wheelhouse.
yeah, exactly. Let me stay in that wheelhouse. And our gym is CrossFit KH. We talked about KH as the license plate identification for our area. It makes for a pretty cool logo. And then I'm on Instagram at MacCFKH. It's our gym name. So
Awesome.
yeah, everybody's welcome. It's preferred that you bring beer if you do show up because we're in the middle of wine country.
Awesome.
But everyone is welcome. And thank you so much for this opportunity. It has been a blast.
No, of course, brother. And we're going to keep spreading the word, doing what we can to move the whole darn thing forward and just slowly take over the world. But Mac, I appreciate it, man. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll see you on the interwebs.
Yes, man. Thank you. Have a good evening. Take
Later.
care.